Hello and good evening, everyone. I am Miss Council, and welcome once again as we talk about another interesting topic. So, thank you all so much for joining me. Hope you are having a great day, that you have been productive, and you are ready for tonight's discussion. As always, I like to interact with my audience, so please don't hesitate to drop something in the comments. Tell me what your thoughts are. I like to see those thumbs up and I like to see those hearts. So let me know that you're out there, that you're listening. So again, thank you so much for joining us tonight for another topic. Last week, we talked about the reason why you're not ready for your next husband. And, I talked about just because of the fact that you're single doesn't mean that you're eligible, because just because it's on the shelf doesn't mean that you need to walk through and pick it off. Or just because it's in your size doesn't mean you need to wear it. You know what I'm saying? Hey, big brother and sis, thanks so much for joining. Always right here on time. When y'all pop in, say hello. Hey, girl. Hey, Rosa. Got my folks on with me tonight. Thanks so much for joining. But we're just talking about our last topic, the reason why you're not ready for your next husband. And so that one was a hot topic, and we had a good conversation last week. So thanks so much for joining me again here. And if you want to know more about that video, the reason why you are not ready for your next husband, go and check out that video. It's in part 1 and part 2 because we got disconnected, which reminds me, like, let me not connect to my internet because we had some storms and everything last week, and so thank God we're all still here. But again, thank you all so much for joining me. Check out that video, the reason you are not ready for your next husband. It's 2 parts. It picked up, I had to go back and pick up afterwards, but I thank you all so much for sticking in there with me. So let's jump right into it. Y'all know I am Miss Council, and I am a relationship and life coach. And I help women who are divorced get their lives back after divorce, and women who are remarried have more successful second marriages. So tonight's topic, the lies they tell. They say a lie, don't care who tell it. So there's some myths out there about marriage and divorce. And so I want to talk about it tonight with you. Y'all, is that all right? Y'all with me? So, as we grew up, we always were told this fairy tale. Everybody probably heard the same fairy tale. I don't know who you heard it from or who I even heard it from, but this is kind of our ideas about marriage. But that it was supposed to be, you get your career, your family, a dog, a partridge in a pear tree, you stay married, the kids go off to college and move out, grow up, you have grandchildren until death do us part, right? Well, that's what happens in those Lifetime movies, but I don't know about real life. That's not how things really go down. But in my version, I thought you went to college, you graduated, you got married, you had kids, you raised them, and you grew old together. Sounds nice and harmonious, doesn't it? I'm not sure what was supposed to happen in between all of that time. I guess happiness. That's what's supposed to be happening. But I really didn't get much of a script on how to make all of that work, in between. Got the story, but didn't know how to make it all work. So I think there was a lot of pressure because remember I told you I got married young. And so that's a lot of pressure on a young 20-something-year-old woman, just now in womanhood, just still trying to figure out life. It's almost like when you're given a new device, whatever that device may be, you don't really know how to make it work or what it's used for. But if you're given a manual or some instructions, you can figure out how to operate it. Once you open the package, you always have that quick start page in the manual that says, how to get started. I remember when this pandemic started and I had to crank out the sewing machine. That sewing machine was new. Bought it for my daughter, never had been used. And so I had to figure out how to thread it. I went to the sewing class with her, but I did not remember how to thread the machine. Of course, we didn't buy the same machine that we used in the classes, but I had to figure that thing out. And so once I cracked that manual open and I looked at it, the quick start, it pointed out a diagram. Where's the power button? This is where the presser foot is. This is, the lever. So it tells you all these things that you need to know how to thread the needle. And so that helped me be a little bit more successful in using it. But when it comes down to relationships or marriage, that's just it. I mean, that manual goes to the easy 4,000 sewing machine, but there's not a manual, a one size fits all manual for marriage. It comes in so many different models, sizes, and you really can't get instructions on how to work it or make things work. Some will say that marriage takes work, since we're using the word work. They'll say that marriage takes work, but I don't like to use that word because it has such a negative connotation. What marriage really requires is effort. And so effort is defined as a vigorous or determined attempt. I like that word, determined. Because what if two people were determined and they had the desire to make things work? I'm just saying, they throw out the word power couple and everything, but I'm saying a real desire and determination to make things work. What they don't tell you about marriage is that you have to have a willing participant in order to make the marriage work. Y'all out there, I know some people are divorced out there or have had some relationships they had to move past, right? You have to have a willing participant. I mean, you cannot single-handedly hold a marriage together or a relationship. You can't do it by yourself. Your words and all of your efforts, if they're falling on deaf ears and that person is really not participating or actively reciprocating, you're going to get tired. If you're not getting anything in return, you're going to get tired and say, you know what, what's the point? If I kept on trying to thread that same machine, after using the instructions and saying, okay, do this, I would eventually grow tired and say, you know what, I give up. I'm just going to hand sew this mask, right? But again, marriage doesn't come with instructions. But a person who is determined, a willing participant, and determined to move any obstacles or mountains or whatever it is in your relationship, in your marriage, so that they can continue to work towards something and get a desired outcome. That's a person who's really putting in effort. But again, they'd have to be a willing participant. A marriage is like a business, and your spouse is your partner. Y'all go with me. Spouse is a partner. You have to have a shared vision and mission and work together towards some common goals in order for this business to prosper. Now, let's put that into perspective. A business is a partnership, and it's defined as a formal arrangement by two or more parties to manage and operate a business and share its profits. Remember, I'm talking about a relationship. A marriage is a business. You're going to work together and to operate and share the profits. I'm getting there. I'm going to tell you what I'm talking about. In a relationship, a partnership means that you never have to worry about like serious issues because you're both working together toward the same goal. You're not in competition if you're working together, right? How you're running a relay race and you're handing off the baton to the next person. Like, you want to be fast and you want to get there to that person, but you know that you need that other person in order to win the race, right? That it's not just about you. You've got to work with somebody else. A partnership goes beyond the relationship status. I mean, it's a meaningful connection. Working together, same goal. Not a competition against each other, but in a competition against in this business to make the business prosper. When you're a business owner, you put everything that you can into it. They always say that if you love something and you enjoy it, that it's not work, right? But when you're a business owner, you don't even take days off for work. You're constantly grinding to make sure that the business is as prosperous as it can be. You throw everything at it, and you're not so willing to give up without trying every way possible to make it flourish. I mean, right now, what's going on with the pandemic has been going on for about 8 months now, and a lot of small businesses are having to close. A lot of big businesses are having to close. So just imagine, you thrown, this is your passion. You took a chance. You're gonna do anything you possibly can. You're gonna leave no stone unturned to make sure that you've done everything that you can to continue this business, and see that it flourishes. Your business partner or your spouse also has a vested interest, and they'll work alongside you and match your efforts. Now, that doesn't mean that you're performing the same role and you're doing the exact same job, but both of you have the same goal in mind. And so it takes effort. So one person may be doing one thing, another person may be doing another, but that may be their niche. It might be their thing that they do well at. But again, it's a partnership, and it takes the talents and the efforts of more than one person in order to prosper in that business. The partner is vested. Remember, they're interested in the success of the business. They are getting profits. They're getting something out of it. So they're going to put in as much effort to make sure that things are going to go well. But y'all know sometimes that effort goes unnoticed. And for some reason, the business has to close and the partnership just doesn't work out. You have to dissolve the business, or sometimes the marriage ends in divorce. Which brings me to the lies that they tell about divorce. There's a long list, but I can't sit here and talk to y'all all night long, as much as I love talking to y'all. Just like no marriage is the same, no divorce is the same. Some people say that it takes 1 year for every 4 years of marriage to get over divorce. How? How, Sway? There's no timeline for healing. There's no timeline on healing. There's no limit to matters of the heart. I mean, it takes as long as it takes. I mean, when you go to counseling, they say give it 4 or 5 sessions in order to see if you even like the person, before you make a decision, or before you have some type of that it starts doing what it needs to do. And I'm talking about counseling. You don't just go the first time and say, all right, I don't feel like I got helped. I mean, it took you years to get into the way of thinking you're in, or whatever rut or whatever issues you have. It took a while for you to have those issues and for them to really manifest. So it's going to take a while to work through those things. So healing is going to take a while. So to say 1 year for every 4 years of marriage, well, if you've been married for 16 years, so it's going to take you that long to get over the divorce, I just don't agree with that. But counseling and effort to help you identify the issues that are those underlying issues, because whatever we think it is, that ain't it. That ain't it. And we got Rosa on. Rosa is always here. She'll tell you, go see a therapist, but one session is not going to do it for you. You've got to really take the time and really participate and tell the truth, because I think a lot of times that you can't heal because the counselor doesn't know how to help you, because you telling them the story that you want them to know. I mean, they're not out in the streets telling your business. They're basically on an NDA. They can't talk about you, even if they know other people that know you. They can't go and talk about you. So be honest and be open so that you can get the help and the tools to be able to cope, move forward, heal. But that takes time. But time does not heal all wounds. Some people think like, oh, I'll just wait it out. Waiting ain't gonna work. It's not. Oh, I just wait it out. Let's see how long. Like if you were waiting at the bus stop, you waiting for the next bus to come. You can wait for the next bus to come, but you're not addressing the issues that are there. And like I just said, you might not even know what the issue is, because it's whatever you think it is. It's like when you go to the doctor, it's like, oh, doctor, I have a cold. Do you? No, actually, your sinuses are inflamed and you have a sinus infection. Oh, who knew? The doctor knew it because he could see the signs and symptoms just from asking you or examining you. So let the therapist examine you. Give them all of the information. Don't lie. You know how sometimes you don't feel like dealing with something, so you ignore it? Say it's like that pile of clothes that's over there in the corner that just keeps piling up or in your laundry room, and it just keeps growing all week long. But by the time you get around to sorting and washing it, it's going to take longer. And you might also have some untreated stains that might just be set in. And those could stay there forever. I mean, what if you had some spaghetti and you dropped some sauce on your favorite white fleece pullover? That might be in there forever because you didn't treat the stain. But you've got to, in life, in your relationships, you've got to put in the effort to identify the areas where you're hurting and need to have that stain treated. You can't just put it off and ignore it. I mean, you might want to use your heart again and open yourself up to another relationship one day. So ignoring the pain that you have and the issues you have, what bothers you, it's not going to just go away. That's an untreated stain that's just going to be right down on the front of your shirt. If you're still wearing that shirt, you might want to wear it again. You might want to use your heart again. So go get that thing diagnosed. Go talk to somebody and see what those issues are so that you can get it all out on the table and be able to move forward. All right. So here's the next lie. They say that you should move on with your life quickly. The sooner you get into another relationship, the faster you'll get over the divorce. Ooh, child. You know, they say the fastest way to get over one is to get under another one. That's what they say. You know, I gave y'all the quotation marks. They say it. Well, I talked about that in a past video. I talked about baggage and how you need to pack light. Y'all remember that song by Erykah Badu, Bag Lady? You gonna hurt your back dragging all those bags like that. But, you know, if you don't deal with the issues that linger from past relationships, you are likely to take that into your next relationship. Or you might be so cautious and treading carefully that because you're trying to prevent things from happening, that your current relationship don't work out. Let me say that one more time. You're trying to be cautious. You're trying to be so cautious. You know, you tiptoeing. You tiptoeing through the tulips, trying to prevent something from happening in your current relationship that it doesn't work out. That other person's paying attention and they're listening to you and they're watching how you're moving. Y'all know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about that paranoia and how you move, like you wait on the other shoe to drop. I'm just telling you, I've been there before. You know, that last relationship may have ended for various reasons. Let's say that person cheated on you. So you're just so sensitive about that. And rightfully so. But you're sensitive to any behavior that might indicate that your new boo has an interest in somebody else. Now, these are the things that you think you see, and so you're treading carefully. You're not really opening up. You have this wall up. You're not really wanting to get too involved. But that person, new boo, might be a little annoyed by your behavior because you might also be doing things like checking up on them, calling them, texting them, stalking them on Facebook. You know, worried about where they are all the time because you're not secure in the relationship. I mean, it happens. It's some PTSD that you've got carried over from past relationship. It's baggage. But if you don't deal with that stuff, you're going to run that next person off. You're going to put it right on them. And they're like, yeah, she crazy. I haven't done anything to make her feel that way. And bye. So, you know, don't do it. You've got to deal with your stuff. You got to deal with your ish. That's what I'm saying. Rushing into a new relationship will not make you forget the last one and what went down, what hurt you. So without dealing with that baggage, you're really more likely to choose somebody who's just like the last one. It's what you're attracting. Same script, different cast. I mean, you want a different result, you got to start doing things differently. But if you don't realize that something's wrong with how you're doing things, why would you change it? Y'all know somebody who makes that same dish every Thanksgiving and like, oh yeah, they love my squash casserole or sweet potato souffle or mashed potato a la mode. They love it, but why is it still left over when the meal is over? People take it to go plates and they ain't taking your dish with them. You ain't changing nothing. You didn't get a clue from the last time. So stop doing things the same way. Instead, take your time. Take your time. I'm talking to somebody. And work on yourself. I mean, really consider what it is that you want in a relationship. And then, you know what? Here's the secret. Expect it. I mean, it's okay to have realistic relationship standards, but you got to expect it. You've got to receive it also, because that's a problem with some people is they have these expectations, but when it's right there, they don't want to receive it. Again, because of the baggage that they have from the past. But yeah, what do you want? Remember, I always say, write it down. What do you want from your next relationship? Work through your stuff. Figure out what it is that you want. Get yourself together and get ready. You know, there's so many myths that are out there about divorce. And I believe it's only because of the fact that people won't tell the truth. People won't share their stories. But you got to realize that somebody learns from your testimony. When you put it out there and let people know, like, look, this is what happened and this is how I made it over. You know, people don't want to share it when they're going through it, and that's all right. But once you get out of it, share your story. Tell a friend, because that friend might learn something from you and be like, oh, let me not do that. You know, it's kind of like when two people are walking, they say, hold up, don't step on that. I mean, my husband and I, when we go walking every day, he'll stop me like, hold up, don't step on that. It was a little snake coming across the sidewalk one day, and he's like, hold up, don't step on that. So, you know, we learn from other people. So he saw that ahead of me. So that's what a testimony is. I saw something happen in this situation. Let me tell somebody about it so they don't go and step on the same. Y'all know what I'm saying. You can apply those things in your life. People can apply what they learn from you in their lives. And when you know better, you can do better. You know, knowing some of the pitfalls of marriage and divorce can help you stay a step ahead, and you can be more successful in your marriage, and hopefully it won't end in divorce. Remember, choosing the right person, and hey, we never know. You know, you just got to learn from learn what it is that you do want and what you don't want, and just don't compromise on that. That's what I mean when I say choosing the right person. Communicate your needs. I always talk about this. You've got to communicate what it is that you need and what your wants are. But you also have to understand his or her needs. And y'all got to work together. Remember, it's a business. That's the secret. It's a business. And you have a vested interest and you have common goals in mind when it comes down to a relationship. You know, I only figured that out after messing up the recipe. I was talking about the recipe in my last video. After messing up the recipe, I'm like, oh, I added a little bit too much sugar here. Let me next time I try the recipe, the marriage, let me do something different. This is the second time around and I'm applying what I've learned. We both are applying what we've learned from our first marriages. And it isn't, and it won't be perfect. But lightning don't strike the same place twice. As long as you are leading with a good heart, that you using some good old common sense, because I know common sense ain't so common, but use common sense, and that you have a partner that's doing the same, somebody who is like-minded, you have a successful business, i.e. marriage. Not one without a hiccup, but one where you can see more gains than losses. I know I keep my business reference, but that's how I'm feeling tonight. Just as I didn't get a script of instructions for my first marriage, I didn't know what to do once I got divorced. I had to figure it out. And I make these videos so that I can help someone else, help the younger me. She's my target. She's the one I'm talking to, the younger me, to not make the same mistakes. And if she does, that she'll only trip a little bit, but not fall so hard on her face. Y'all, thanks so much for joining me tonight. I am Miss Counsel. Please make sure that you go and check out my Facebook group for divorced women, divorced and remarried women. It is called Divorced Like Us. You'll have to answer 2 little questions in order to be admitted to the group. Divorced women and remarried women only. Please also check out my website, MissCounselKnows.com, where you can learn how to work with me, how to purchase my book, and more information as to what I'm up to. Thank you all so much for joining. I am Miss Counsel, and Miss Counsel knows a little bit about everything. I ain't telling you what I heard, but I'm telling you what I know. Y'all be blessed, and I will see you next time.